Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to take a really charged political argument, and instead of debating it, we're going to deconstruct it. We're going to see how it's built, piece by piece, using its own words. Let's get into it.
All right, so let's jump right in with the headline claim. This is the big statement that kind of frames everything that follows. You can think of it as the destination, right? The final point the speaker wants you to land on. So our job today is to look at the map. How exactly did they get us here?
So this all kicks off with what the argument presents as the central criticism. And it all boils down to a claim of, well, misplaced priorities.
So how did this happen? According to this argument, it wasn't just random. Nope. They claim there's a systemic reason for it. The core idea is that leaders were getting promoted for, and I'm quoting here, the wrong reasons.
And they don't just leave it vague either. The source gets super specific about what these wrong reasons are. They point to these three things right here as the root of the problem. The argument being made is that these criteria started to matter more than, other qualifications, and that this fundamentally changed who was in charge. Okay, so the first part of the argument is about who is in charge, the personnel. But the next step shifts focus. It moves from people to ideas. It diagnoses what it sees as an ideological problem, and it really hones in on one very specific phrase. And this is where the argument really ramps up, It's not just saying an idea is wrong or that they disagree with it. It's claiming that a whole generation of leaders was basically forced to parrot this specific idea. That word parrot is so important here. It suggests they were just repeating it on command without actually believing it or even thinking about it.
And this is the idea. The source calls this, quote, the insane fallacy. Wow. Calling it insane, that's a really strong choice of words, right? It's not just saying, I think this is incorrect. It's trying to frame the whole concept as totally irrational, maybe even harmful.
So once the argument has tried to tear down that idea, it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't leave a void. It immediately pivots and offers up a replacement, what it claims is the real source of strength. And what this does is it creates a head-to-head battle between two core values. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. You can see the central conflict of the entire argument right here. It's framed as an either-or choice. You have the so-called fallacy on one side and the proposed strength on the other. It's pitting diversity directly against unity, basically asking you to pick a side. Okay, so let's put it all together. When you trace the logic from start to finish, you can see this really clear four-step path. First, there's the criticism. The institution became woke. Then, the supposed cause, promotions based on identity. Third, they reject an idea, that diversity is strength. And finally, they offer their own solution, that unity is strength. It's a very neat package.
So after taking this whole thing apart, we're left with a really big question, aren't we? What truly defines an institution's strength? Is it the diversity of its people or the unity of their purpose? Seeing how this one argument forces that specific choice, well, it really gives you a roadmap for understanding a whole lot of other debates happening right now.